Question 3. Use prime factors to find the highest common factor of the following pairs of numbers. So I'll just start off with my joke. What did the banana say to the doctor? He was peeling unwell. Use prime factors to find the highest common factor for the following pairs of numbers. So we've got 8 and 20. So the highest common factor, what does that mean? So I'll just explain that. Let's say we have these two numbers. These two numbers, we've got 10 and 20. Let's make it easy to start off with 10 and 20. I want to know the highest common factor. So here's what we could do. Here's what we could do with 10 and 20. The factors of 10, 2, 5, and 10, and obviously 1. Factors 1 times 10 is 10, and 2 times 5 is 10. Factors of 20. 1, 2, 5, 4, 10, and 20. And also, I think that's it. I think that's about it. So we've got 1 times 20 is 20. 2 times 10 is 20. 5 times 4 is 20. So the highest common factor here between those two numbers is going to be, it's going to be 10. Okay, because 10 is a factor of 10 and 10 is a factor of 20. So the highest number, it's the biggest one, is going to be 10. Okay, so let's look at 8 and 20. So this is not using prime factors. This is a way of doing it the old-fashioned way. So we've got 8. So here we'll have the factors of 8. 1, 2, 4, and 8. 1 times 8 gives 8, and 2 times 4 gives 8. The factors of 20, we just figured them out before. 1, 2, 4, 5, and 20. Okay, so the highest here, if we look, the highest common factor is going to be 4. All right, let's see if we can figure that out using prime factors. Okay, so 8, we draw out our factor tree. So we've got, it's going to be 4 times 2 and then 2 times 2. Okay, so our factor tree showed us this. 2 times 2 times 2 gives 8. Okay, and for 20, we've got 10 times 2 and 5 times 2. Okay, so it's going to be 5 times 2 times 2 gives 20. So these are prime factors. Now, what's the same here? We look, and we're going to try and figure out what's the same between these prime factors. We have a 2 there, we have a 2 here, and a 2 here. So there's something that's the same. Then we have another 2 and another 2. So that's something that's the same. So we have 2 2's that are the same. So the highest common factor is going to be 2 times 2, because we can't have this third 2 because there's a 5 there. They're not the same. So the highest common factor is 2 times 2, which equals 4. So we're going to try the next one. Let's try the next one. 12 and 36. So 12 and 36. We've got 12, the factor tree is going to give us 6 and 2. So 6 times 2 is 12. And we've got then, it will have 3 times 2 gives 6. So 3 times 2 gives 6. 6 times 2 gives 12. So we have 3 times 2 times 2 equals 12. Okay, and for 36. 36. 6 times 6 gives 36. Then we're going to have 3 times 2 and 3 times 2. So we'll have 3 times 2 times 3 times 2 to give us 36. So then we look to find the highest common factor. We look at what's the same. Okay, we have a 3 here. So there's a 3 there, so that's the same. So it's going to include a 3 times. And we got a 2. We have another 2 there, that's the same, times. And then we've got another 2 here and a 2 here. That's the same. So 3 times 2 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. Okay, so the highest common factor equals 12. Let's go and look at E. So we've got 24. 24, 6 times 4 is 24, and 3 2s is 6, and 4 is 2 times 2. So our prime factors, 3 times 2 times 2 times 2 equals 24. And for 56, if we look at our times tables, 56 divided by 7 is 8. So 7 times 8 is 56, and 4 times 2 is 8, and then we got a 2 and a 2 there. Okay, so this is a bit of a tricky one. It's going to be 7 times 2, so 7 times 2 times 2 times 2. Okay, and that equals 56. All right, so and what's the same here? We need to look what's the same to find the highest common factor. We look. So we've got a 2 there, and we've got a 2 here. So our highest common factor, we've got 2 times the highest common factor equals, we've got 2 times, and another 2 here, and another 2 there. So 2 times, and another 2 here, another 2 there. And that's it. Here we've got a 7 and a 3, so they're not the same, so that's all we can include. 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8. Highest common factor is 8. Okay, 64 and 96. So we look, 64, that's 32 times 2. And then 32 is 16 times 2. 16 is 8 times 2. And 8 is 4 times 2. And that's 2 times 2. So 64 is this. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. That gives us 64. And 96. 96. That's going to be it's 48. 48 times 2. And we've got 24 times 2. Then 12 times 2. And then 6 times 2. And then 3 times 2. So it's a little bit different. So we're going to have, I'll do it up here. 3 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So that's 3 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Okay, so that equals 96. Then we find what's the same. So what's the same here? We look, we've got a 2 and a 2. So the highest common factor equals 2 times another 2 and another 2. So put another 2 down, times, and then another 2 and another 2, times another 2 and another 2, times another 2 and another 2. Okay, and that 3 and that 2 are different numbers. So we don't include them. So the highest common factor equals 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16, 16 times 2 is 32. The highest common factor is 32. Okay, 60 and 105. Okay, so 60, that's 10 times 6. And 10 is 5 times 2. 5 times 2. And 6 is 3 times 2. Okay, so we've got 5 times 2 times 3 times 2 equals 60. And 105. Now this one's a bit tricky. Okay, 105 divided by 5 is 21. So 21 times 5 is 105. And then 21 divided by 7 gives 3. So 7 3s are 21. So we've got 7 times 3 times 5 equals 105. And our highest common factor, we need to look at what's the same. We've got a 5 and another 5 here. So it's 5 times. Then we have, do we have a 2? Nope, there's no 2 there. What about a 3? Yes, we got a 3. We got 1 3. Do we have a 2? Nope, that's it. 5 3s. 5 3s are 15. The highest common factor of 60 and 105 is 15. $80 and 128. So that's 8 times 10. And then we're going to have 4 times 2 and 5 times 2. And then 4 is 2 times 2. Okay, so we've got 2 times 2 times 2 times 5 times 2 equals 80. Okay, and for 128, it's going to be, what's that? Let's divide it by 2. So on your calculator, you can type in straight away 128 divided by 2 gives you 64. So 64 and 2. And then we'll have 32 and 2. And then we're going to have 16 and 2. And we're going to have 8 and 2, 4 and 2, and 2 and 2 over here. Okay, so our prime factors, we've got 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 2s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 equals 128. So let's check that 2 to the, just checking my calculator, 2 to the power of 7 equals 128. Great. So we look at what's the same. So make my pen a different color here. What's the same? Highest common factor. We've got a 2. A 2 and a 2. So they're the same, so it's 2 times. And we've got another 2 and another 2. 2 2s there. Then we've got another 2 and another 2. Then we've got another 2 there and another 2 there. Okay, so that's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. And do we have, there's a 5 here. Is there a 5 up here? No. No, there's not. So it's 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. So the highest common factor equals 16.